Okay, I think we're live.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, so I think this is. I don't think it's the first time we've been on stream together, but because I think I've talked to you through FanSpeak before. But
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't think we really hung out on stream.
No.
Um, so yeah, I've been I've been a fan of comics for years and started getting into comics as like an artist and stuff in high school and everything, but never really reached that level where I felt I was comfortable trying to go become a pro and submit my stuff. So I scared myself out of ever doing it, and instead I went into like web design, graphic design, things like that. And over the last year or so, especially dealing with everybody that's working on these new indie books and everything, I've become so inspired by people that I decided I was going to try to improve my skills and work on stuff and just take a shot at it. And so like
Cool.
what we're doing with N Comics is kind of interesting. Is we're going to be uh, we're creating an imprint type thing where we can actually help people get their books published and print and do all this other kind of stuff. We're talking to Amazon about fulfillment and things, but the core of it though is going to be a large group of people that are like YouTubers and other creatives and stuff that want to help promote other people. So we're trying to build a big network that we can bounce ideas off of one another and help get the word out about our books and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, because right now there's a few big channels. Obviously, EVS is a huge presence, but once you step out of that, there's very few channels that really have a large reach. There's a bunch of little ones here and there, and they're growing. I mean, Sweetcast has a pretty good channel growing. Um, you see some of the other guys like John Malin obviously has a good following. Mike has a good following. You've got a decent following now too, I think, right? You're starting to build your
Uh,
channel.
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm only up to I think about 300.
Okay,
So.
yeah, it's a good start. That 1,000 limit though, that one kills me for like live streaming when you're out in public and being able
Mm,
to be monetized and stuff. It's going to take a while, I think. I try to stay away from drama, so that's going to be a hard way for me to generate numbers. But
yeah, that was really lame when they did that.
yeah, oh well. I mean, it happens. But what I'm going to try to do, since I'm going to Comic Con, are you going to be exhibiting at San Diego?
Um, Actually, so I didn't get an artist alley, but I'm on a wait list, and then
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna I'll show up, and then if they have any spots to fill, I'll pop in there.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked Mike about it yesterday, and he was like, "I don't have my badge yet." I'm like, okay, you might want to look into that, buddy."
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to do anything there or not. I think last year he was kind of annoyed by the con. He didn't get a whole lot of business out of it until I think the
Hmm.
last day.
Yeah, and he lost his booth, right? So he doesn't have a booth this year.
I think that's the case. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what he's gonna do. I think he's really just over cons, you know,
yeah.
as a whole. So yeah.
Gotcha. So what are you working on here?
So these are concept designs for the Shadow Sentry character. So this he's pretty much done, but this is Cogent, and I'm kind of just working on his final look and how his the front of his uniform is going to look.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how well it's coming through. Most of it's blue line, but
Yeah, I can see it. Let me put you on presentation because my stuff looks terrible. I'll let you show up. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, I can barely see the blue lines, but they're there. Are you on a light box or is it just really
it might just be the bright light. Let me see if I can. Does that help? The
okay?
light the light in my studio is horrible.
Gotcha. No, it's okay. It's kind of weird the way the blue lines are showing up on my screen. I think it's just the camera refresh rate. It actually looks like the black lines are hovering over the top, like you've got a piece of paper underneath.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really strange.
Gotcha.
That's a trip. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I have his basic look down, but like I need to finalize like the front and what it's gonna look like. So I'm just kind of messing around with that. I'm trying to do some character designs that I can color and like present and say like, okay, this is the final look for the characters for the book.
Right. That
So
makes sense.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So what's your approach when you start to create a new character? Like how do you come up with their look and like the costuming and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, usually it starts with some basic idea,
Hmm.
um, and then I'll just start sketching it out, and then it basically will evolve. And but like, so for instance, this is Ganon. I knew I want him to have a very like punk rocker kind of style.
Hmm.
So his design was like fairly quick and easy. I gave him aviator glasses, and just know he wants to have guns, and so that was really quick. But somebody like Cogent, he's a big guy. His power is like strength, and he can control momentum. So so it's a little bit different. Like I need to start from scratch and like think about, okay, well, I want him to have like kind of this Captain America mask with the hair showing, and these huge, massive gloves. And so then I just start with a basic, idea that I want to get down, and then I just start sketching, and
Gotcha.
then yeah, and just go from there.
Right on. Okay. Yeah, I've always struggled with character design, and maybe it's just because I look at way too many other references and stuff. I'm like, oh no, this guy looks like Deadpool, or this guy looks like this, and I'll scrap it. I have a character I created back in high school called Paradox,
Mm,
and actually I don't know if I got a picture of him handy, but he's a like cyborg kind of warrior pulled through time kind of thing, and
mm.
he winds up. I didn't mean to do it, but his suit totally looks like Deadpool. And now when I go back and look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's totally him.
Yeah, it happens. It's kind of like, yeah, but you have like a basic idea, right? And then you kind of just go from there.
Yeah, yeah, it's not bad. And every time I come through and I revamp it, the character looks a little bit better over time. But the thing I'm working on now is this whole little snail thing, which is taking me a while. Actually, let me go to my screen real quick here too.
It's an actual snail.
It's an actual snail. Um, let me find that picture of him real quick, and I'll show you. But this is Paradox here.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
let me zoom in on him real quick on my screen. Yeah,
Nice. So is it more of like a metal kind of mask around his face?
yeah. So I started adding that after over time. He didn't have that initially. It was just like the wires and stuff kind of came up his neck. But
Mm,
I started adding the extra stuff like the neck guard kind of backpack looking thing, and uh, the markings on his chest and the way that the suit kind of has these cut-ins into his body is where I started to notice it looks way too much like Deadpool. So I'm like, okay, I need to change a
mm.
few things, move some stuff around, and see what I can do. He used to carry a massive broadsword though, so that's something Deadpool didn't have. But
Right, right.
don't have. I don't know if he's going to still carry that or not. A lot of my influences come from the '90s comics.
Yeah, same here.
I got into comics right around the time. Well, Punisher was my first real book that I started collecting, but then Image kind of hit the scene, and it was not Deadpool, Bloodstrike. Bloodstrike
Mm,
#1 was actually the first Image book I ever picked up.
nice.
Yeah, feel the blood.
Yeah,
And
that's right. Dan Ferga.
yeah, yeah, Dan's a good guy. I am actually kind of bummed that he moved out of California. He's back east now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, yeah. I've only got a chance to hang out with him a few times right before he left, and then he moved back there. But he's in Atlanta, I think.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's bringing back his stuff. Black Flag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's been talking about that lately.
Nice. I didn't even realize that was like his own creator-owned thing.
Yeah, he did that when he was over at I think it was Maximum Press actually put that out, or did Extreme do it? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I think it was Maximum at that time.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't even realize that Maximum Press was Rob Liefeld's imprint at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember seeing it, but I just and I knew that it had the same style and all that stuff, but I didn't realize it was his thing.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. From what I recall, that happened right around the time that he split off from Image, or was preparing to split away from Image or something.
Mm.
And yeah, he formed it, and then And then from there, he wound up going, and I think he formed Awesome after that, completely separate from Image, and that's when he started doing his
Yeah, I remember that.
Fighting American. I think was there.
Hmm.
He had a few other projects. So yeah, this is the snail here. His name right now, the working name is Snaily, but the name of the comic is called Critical Snail, and it's he's a well, I'm kind of basing him on about the size of a African land snail, which can get up to about the size of a small dog.
Oh
They're
wow.
yeah, they're huge, and I don't know if I have a picture of one handy. Let me look at my desktop real quick. No, anyway, yeah, they're massive snails, and they're really cool looking though, and people keep them as pets over in Europe. Here in the states, you can't own them because I guess they grow really fast and
Mhm.
they breed really quickly.
Wow.
But for the sake of my story, he's not going to breed. He's just going to be a really angry snail that that wants to get some revenge. Um, but I'm thinking like an Inspector Gadget style, where he can pull pretty much anything he wants out of a shell.
Nice.
Yeah, so like rocket launchers or whatever. Or like he'll get upgrades over time, and so he'll be able to unlock different abilities and things and fly around and do different stuff. But I I took kind of an Earthworm Jim kind of vibe, kind of
Mhm.
playful, spacey kind of thing, and it'll probably be a little more cartoony in the final artwork. But uh, he's gonna wind up with a couple space pirates and get upgrades and stuff, and kind of blast around the world or the
Nice.
galaxy and stuff. Yeah, I I've got a buddy of mine that's helping me write it. We're still trying to figure out more than just the introduction of him, because what happens is he's on a frigate and
Mhm.
he's found damaged. His shell's been broken, and this little girl. I don't know how old I'm going to make her yet. I'm thinking probably a teen, but she's a tinkerer with a little lab and stuff, and so she's the one that actually gives him his shell, or at least the first version of his shell,
Nice.
and kind of takes him on as a pet. And then the ship is raided, and the raiders wind up kidnapping her and taking her away and leaving him for dead on the disabled ship. And then
Mm.
pirates come along to raid the ship and find him, take him as kind of like their mascot slash buddy or whatever, and use him for their infiltrations and different things on other ships. And so he gets upgrades and stuff during that time. That's how he starts to build up his abilities in his shell. And
Nice.
then yeah, and then finally he winds up with an alien technology towards the end. I had talked to Doug Snaple about it a little bit. He was trying to convince me to make it a turtle. I was like, I'm like, no way, man, it can't be a turtle. There's too many turtles out there. And he's like, yeah, but you're gonna get a comparison to Turbo. I'm like, okay, well, we just won't make him fast. He can't go fast, but
Right. Right.
he can do this. But yeah, so I'm kind of stoked about it. I've had a lot of people hitting me up saying, you got to do it, you got to do it. But I'm still trying to figure out the universe. Um,
Mm.
but it's like I can do the first story, the introduction kind of origin thing, but I need to get something larger to the
Mm.
story. Otherwise, it's just this snail running around capturing things or destroying stuff. And I mean, it sounds fun, but there's got to be more plot to it than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. My power just like dimmed all of a sudden.
Oh,
Yeah.
the heat's been crazy as of yesterday. It was like 95 in my area.
Let me. I'll be right back. Let me go turn some stuff off.
Yeah, no worries.
All right.
All right, let's see here. I don't think anybody's watching us yet. Maybe they are, and my channel's just not working properly. Hold on. All right, well, we're sitting here. I'm going to try to get a few more people in. Let's see here. Oh, I closed my chat tab. Oh no.
He said he's done.
Close that down.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
It was my father-in-law running his power saw out back, so
Oh, there you go.
I think we're hooked on the same power out there, so that's why.
Gotcha.
We are good. So what I miss?
You missed me talking to myself while I'm trying to figure out how to switch channels here. I'm on my PC on the left side, or on or what I'm streaming from, but I'm trying to actually manage everything on the Mac next to me,
Mm.
and I'm having an issue. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Live streaming. Go back into here. Need to get back into my console. Blah blah blah. There we go. Okay. Dashboard. All right. Back to you. Percent everyone. There we go. All right. Yeah. What I'd like to try to do over the next I don't know, like 6 months. It's kind of what I'm trying to figure out here. Is start to get my character designs figured out for not just this book, but I've got a couple other books I've been bouncing ideas around. Um, I talked to a few people about them here and there, but I've got a couple different concepts I've been beating up for years, and it's one of those things where it's like it sounds good in your head, and then you start telling people about it, and you realize that you just don't have enough to it yet.
Mm.
Do you have a writing partner or anybody that you work with, or do you just try to do everything on your own?
I try to do everything. Well, I say try. I do everything on my own just because at the moment I don't have any kind of sounding board.
Yeah,
But I do have a few guys who, once my script is done, I can give it to them and they kind of look it over and give me some, like critiques and stuff like that.
yeah,
But for now, the main story and plot and everything is all me.
gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely important to have somebody. If I could, do it with somebody, I would.
Yeah,
But because I've been working on the story for so long, I kind of have it all mapped out in my head. It's kind of like it's just easier to have someone more like edit it than come in and be like, hey, no, I don't think I like that, and so I'd rather just do it like that.
sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of going back. I was the first part of my story. There's a kid, and I was gonna have him in. I want him to break out of somewhere because he's a foster kid and he like keeps running away. So I wanted him to like break out of this place. But I'm like, well, if he's at a foster home, the door is open. You know what I mean? Like he can't break out. So I'm like, okay, I gotta totally rethink this because I had this whole thing set up and he was gonna break out, and I'm like, God, that's what I want, but it doesn't make sense. So I got to totally redo it.
Yeah,
So it's, I'm sure it's just a lot of rewriting and making sure it's solid.
yeah. I question a lot of stuff. Actually, I had this idea too for a book where this guy gets a suit. It's like a suit of armor. He's a reformed criminal that he has to he gets pulled back into the thing one more time to do one final job so he can get square with the people that protected him while he was in prison.
Mm.
And he winds up with a suit of armor that has an AI in it. And the original concept of it was that the AI was it just wanted to be a superhero, but he was a villain and he wanted to do crimes, but the suit wouldn't let him. But then when I started going with the whole reformed villain angle, I'm like, okay, well, we can't do that because then he's actually a good guy now, and that kind of loses the whole scope of the story. So I have to kind of remove that reformed criminal angle and work on something else with it, or something. But
Mm.
I mean, the original concept was fun, though. You've got the whole internal turmoil of a guy trying to be a bad guy, but the suit really, really wants to be a superhero, and it's the whole AI has control of his body, so it won't let him do the whole thing that he wants it to do.
Mm.
Um, kind of a play on like Venom type stuff,
Gotcha.
but with
Yeah, that's the hard thing, man. Getting something original.
yeah,
That's probably the most difficult.
yeah. The comparison to stuff all the time is killer. It's like I've I don't know. I think there's somebody that said something like every story's been told. It's just how you how you take those pieces and mix them together.
Right. Yeah. It's like we're just borrowing from something else
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah. Yep. Mine's just an X-Men story with different guys and different powers.
I really like the look of this guy.
Yeah. I love, I like you, I love the 90s stuff. And so Mark Silvestri, I like his character designs and stuff.
Yeah.
So lots of straps and, you know, because I mean, if it's just spandex, it's like, it's not too interesting. So I try and throw, lines around and just mess with stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the original Cyberforce designs I loved. And
Yeah.
actually, even the new ones I like a lot too. But his art style's become way more loose than it used to be,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I don't quite like it as much.
Mm. Yeah. Some of the stuff is really interesting, like all the lines and just it's so intricate, but
Yeah,
it's loose. It's crazy.
yeah, it's really strange. I picked up the Kickstarter book, um, or books rather, that he did for Cyberforce when he first relaunched them about was it 6 years ago? I think something like
Okay.
that. Uh, it was the 5 issues or 4 issues or something like that, and they reintroduced the team, kind of did a new backstory for a lot of the characters, and it was really cool. But in his style, yeah, it, you kind of nailed it. It's very intricate. He's got all kinds of stuff going on inside of there, but it still feels really loose. I don't know how he gets that look, but
Yeah.
there's just lines everywhere. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's
Speaking
inking his own stuff now too, isn't he? Or
Yeah, I
is
think so. I believe so.
yeah.
I picked this up on eBay uh like last week or something, but I just saw it. It was only like $3. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get this.
Oh
It's
wow.
it's an Ashcan and it's the whole second issue. But
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
all black and white and everything. And it's signed.
Nice.
So yeah, I love this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And who did the inks on
Ripclaw.
that?
Uh,
Is that Bat? Oh
uh,
no, it's all him. Looks like.
yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Wow.
It's hard to tell sometimes. He's got some really clean inks then.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah, so if I can get anything close to this, I'm going to be happy. Because I'll be
So
doing my own inks and everything.
yeah, that's one thing
Nice.
I struggle with. I'm still learning inking and like how to spot blacks and do all that. I turn my pieces into a muddled mess of black ink.
Yeah, I still struggle with it, man. It's hard sometimes. I struggle when I get small, like when things are really small, and then it's like I want to put blacks in there, and it's like, man, I can't do cross hatching. I gotta tell myself like, okay, when it's real small, just do blacks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
just did some pages for I don't know if you know him. His name's Mike Engerhauser. He was working on a book called Black Forest. Um,
Hmm.
he had like brain surgery like halfway through his campaign because he was
Oh,
having
wow.
seizures and stuff. Yeah, and so he asked a couple people to help him out, and so I stepped in and said, "Yeah, man, I'll do a couple pages for you." And so I did 2 pages, and I've never really had anything published before, so like I actually went out and printed the 2 pages I did at the size that they're going to come out. And the first thing I noticed immediately was I was being far too anal about the detail at at the large size. Like
Hmm.
because half that stuff didn't reproduce. I had all this really intricate hashing and all kinds of stuff going on, and when I shrank it down, it just turned into a blob. um,
Yeah.
and that's also kind of the problem with working digital too. I've noticed is since you can zoom in on everything, a
Right.
lot of the stuff you're looking at, you're just not going to wind up seeing.
Hmm. Yeah, when I color stuff, I always have to remind myself to zoom out because sometimes when you're zoomed in and you're adding all this detail and you zoom out, you don't even really see it,
Yeah.
or it looks funky. So it's like you got to kind of get the whole picture in there. But yeah, I can't do digital, man. I can tweak stuff digitally, but to ink it, it's rough.
Yeah, I'm just learning. Like whoops, I just accidentally hit the wrong screen. Hold on. Show and broadcast. There we go. Yeah, for me, I'm primarily a traditional artist. I did everything in pen. In fact, when I do digital, I feel like I'm way too loose, and I'm just finally starting to get used to the tools and stuff where I don't feel like I'm just whipping lines left and right. But
Mm.
like my pencil work, I get pretty tight, and I think I'm okay with it. But I'm scared to ink it. I've got a few pieces that I've worked on that I really like, and I really want to ink them, but I'm scared to death of just destroying the piece, and so I've never put ink on them.
What if you scanned it in and then had both? Would that be an option?
I'm sure it would be. In fact, it's probably what I need to do, and just print out my blue lines or something at like 10 or 15% or something. I've just never tried it,
Hmm.
so it's something I need to do. I'll have to go maybe down to Kinko's or something and see if they can print it out on a piece of board for me.
Yeah, because yeah, it's like you don't want to mess it up, and then it's like, well, you could practice, kind of, you know.
Yeah,
But,
that's true.
if you like really like the pencils, it's like, oh, I don't want to screw this up.
Yeah, and that's just it. I think they're good looking pencils, but I'm just like I said, I'm terrified of laying ink down because I've damaged so many pieces in the past from it. I still have this gun shyness about laying down inks. We've got Dr. Wright joining us here.
Awesome. What up?
Hello.
What's up, Doc?
I just woke up. I was gonna go to the gym and crashed. Woke up at 4 this morning to go do some work, so I was too tired. I thought
Oh,
I
yeah,
could do it. I was wrong.
that's funny.
I was like, I'm just gonna like.
Oh man, that was me last night. I was sitting there watching streams, trying to keep up with everybody that was doing stuff. Mike had a stream, and Edwin had a stream, and so I'm like popping in and out between stuff and commenting, and then all of a sudden I look up at the time. And it's only maybe 10 o'clock, 10:30, and I'm like, I'm going to bed. I never go to bed. I just suddenly I was tired. I'm
Yeah.
becoming an old man.
When it hits you, man, it hits you. You know, you just got to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Eric and I were just talking about character design and some of our favorite artists like Mark Silvestri here,
Mm.
and he was showing me an ash can he just picked up on eBay for super cheap. Now I got to go scroll through eBay and see what else they've got for sale.
Yeah, right.
Who did I like? Was it? What was it? Sylvester did Wetworks?
No, that's Will Prestaccio.
Okay, I loved that series.
You know what I didn't know is he actually lives here in San Diego.
Ooh.
For some reason I thought he lived over in like the Philippines or something, or on the East Coast or something. But yeah, he's here in San Diego apparently.
Everybody lives by you. Yeah.
It seems like it. Yeah, it definitely does. Well, I guess it makes sense though. A lot of the image guys were based in SoCal, and I mean with homage being here in San Diego directly, like La Jolla.
Yeah.
Man, I remember reading. This is so bad, but I remember reading Gen 13 and calling La Jolla La Jolla all the time.
Right. Dude, I did the same thing until I moved here.
Oh man.
I lived in actually like El Cajon.
El Cajon?
Yeah, I lived in El Cajon for about a year and a half. I was really young. Like 7, 8. I was oof. It was interesting times. I got chosen to be in like I don't know, like some sort of academic program, like honors type of program. And my mother wouldn't let me do it because they wanted to travel across the state and like show us off to different museums because we had all created these like dioramas for like dinosaurs and animals and everything. And she was like, "No, what's gonna happen? You're trying to take my baby away."
Oh man.
So, yeah.
How old were you again? It's like 7, 8.
Yeah, I was like 7 or 8 years old.
That's funny.
Wow. As a father now, like thinking about it, I'm like, man, I don't know if I could do that.
Right?
I mean, it was a thing, you know. I mean, because it came like really quickly, and my mom was like, "No." I remember being so excited, you know, because my teacher was like, you've been chosen out of the state for, blah blah blah. I was like, "Yeah, so awesome." You know, she's like, "No," and I'm like, "I'm gonna die. My life is over." It peaked at 7. So that's how that was. What are you working on here?
He's working on character design stuff for his book, which is coming. Like the next
Like November-ish.
November.
It's kind of my soft launch date. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm just playing with the concept for the in comics robot.
Yeah. Don't make it look
Nice.
like the NASA robot.
No, it won't be the NASA robot.
I don't know, man. I've been going nuts trying to contact people. I've been reaching out all over the place for I need to find out because I asked Josh the other day, but he didn't answer me back or not. Because he's into a lot of those other social media things like Minds and Gab and everything, you know.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Is that worth it? Is there an ROI there?" And he never got back to me.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Those platforms are definitely powered by people that are fed up with the other platforms, and so you just don't have the numbers.
yeah, I mean that's true, but like again, I don't know, like you really don't need huge numbers.
It's
And
true.
when people say small numbers and you mean social media, they mean like, oh, there's not a billion, there's only like 160 million. And like, oh, that's good,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, if you can get a following of like 1,000 people or something like that on D Live or something,
I mean, if you get 1,000 across all, you're good. But like, I mean, that's how Blake Northcutt. That's how she survives. That's how she lives. Is she's got across like 5 different platforms, something like 230,000 fans.
yeah,
So out of that 230,000, when she puts out something new, she probably gets 8,000. You know, and that's way more than enough.
yeah, that makes sense.
So, I mean, you look at like I mean, everybody wants to pretend that Comicsgate is. I heard somebody, there was a thing where somebody was like, I hope we beat this number from Vampire, and because they like Vampirella issue 1 was like 8,000 or 8,800 or something,
Mhm.
and or the new one was 60,000, but like they had this one that was like 80, and they're like, we could beat this number, just Comicsgate, and I'm like, you're dreaming.
Yeah, unless we're buying multiple copies, it's going to be hard for.
Yeah, I mean, Comicsgate is like, I'd say the people that like really like buy everything and are really into it, maybe 3,500 people.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what the real actual like actual numbers for people are. It seems like that it's about that range though, 3 to 4,000 people. Um, but it's hard to say for sure because people come and go all the time. R2D2 for life. Rabid Comics. We got a bunch of people up in here. Let's see. The White Mask guys. Rabid Comics says the White Mask guy scares me. He's talking about you, Doc.
Why do I scare people?
It's the mask, man.
I didn't even do my traditional greeting. I'm so tired. Like, hoorah!
There you
The
go.
doctor is in. Let the fun begin.
All right, we're gonna make R2D2 a moderator because he deserves it. That guy, man, R2D2 for life is just constantly out there talking up people and promoting books and stuff all the time. I actually owe him a little care package. I've got something pulled together. I need to just get it mailed out for him.
For who? Sean?
Yep.
Sean's a great dude.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of good stuff for people, and he's one of the biggest champions for IndieCron and for a lot of the indie guys, just totally out there making sure that their books get noticed.
Did you see that the little monologue he had? Because he doesn't call any attention to himself. He never asks for anything, and he came out and he just talked about how, he wasn't sure if he could be Comicsgate because he liked what it was about, but he didn't know if he liked what it was, and so he was going to support everybody, but not like it. And for a while, he was calling it like Team Comics, like with Peter and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And I'm with him. I mean, I understand what he's saying. You just gotta. I think you gotta find your place, find what works for you, and go with it. You know what I mean? And there is a certain moral flexibility within some of all this. And if you can't, if that's not you, if you don't want to do that, then don't. Do you?
You.
One person read it. That's what he says. Well, yeah, there's people at Reddit. What was he? Manga Fence?
One person. He said one person. Yay!
One person read it. It was the doc.
I'm sure a lot of people read it.
Yeah.
If they didn't, then they're stupid.
Oh man. Yeah, I've been it's one of those things, like there's so many people that are part of this movement, and every single person has their own opinion on how things are formed or shaped, which lines are drawn where. And so your interpretation of CG can be vastly rather different than somebody else's interpretation of it. And I think that's by nature the way it has to be, just because it is what it is. But it leads to miscommunications and missteps and things here and there all the time.
Well, I mean, you get it all the time. It's like, it's a brand. No, it's not. It's okay. Well, then it's this. No, it's not. Okay. Well, it's what is it then? Who cares?
Yeah. At this point, I'm just like, I'm a guy that tries to help people make books. I help promote books. I like a lot of these guys. I try to back as many as I can. I can't back everybody, unfortunately, but I actually put ads. I don't know if they've shown up yet, but I put ads on IndieCron today. So this is an exclusive revial that ads will.
Oh my goodness!
Yep, ads will start showing up on IndieCron at some point. Only at the bottom of the page for now. I just wanted to. So here's what happened. I'm looking at IndieCron. I'm looking at the numbers of people that are hitting the site. We're getting a couple hundred, probably about 5, sometimes 600 people a day, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on the day. I don't expect those people to buy anything or do anything. I have zero, if people don't want to put a dime into the site, not a big deal. I'm doing this for the love of the comics and for the people that are working on them. But if they happen to click a link and help me out, awesome. And that helps me out a lot, because I've backed, I think, about 40 campaigns now.
Wow.
And from the site itself, the site's raised at least $100,000. There's some estimates it could be much higher, almost double that for the bigger, if we calculated in the bigger campaigns early on, which I wasn't tracking at that time. But I'm just gonna say a safe $100,000 is about what I can say we've helped books cover. And I feel pretty good about that. And I don't ask anybody for a dime. A few people have offered me free books, which I think is awesome. Thank you so much. But, not required. It's just been really cool. And so now I'm like looking at my bank account going, okay, well, who do I get to back this week? Because I've already spent X amount. And I'm like, well, maybe if I had a little bit of subsidy coming in, I could help back more. So it's funny. I'm going to get more money in from the site, but I'm totally reinvesting it back into the comics anyway. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I think we're just getting into. I mean, we've kind of created this outreach program, where we're trying to reach out. I contacted a bunch of guys from because the easiest place I can find them, is either Twitter or YouTube, and so I've been searching for TTRPG celebrities, I guess. And I've been reaching out to them. So I sent 15 letters in the past couple of days. I've received a couple of letters back, some interest, like, hey, yeah, what is this? What are you doing? What's going on? And one of the things that a couple of them have come back and really are really interested in is Model 316.
Yeah.
Is that whole idea of, I'm like, look, we have a guy in the community that if we could crowdfund, up to 20,000, he would love to do professional level models for us if we can just pay for the printers to get in there first. And they were like, really?
Yeah.
And that they were like, what would you? And then, of course, it was like, what would you want to do? And I'm like, well, I would want to contract them. You come to us, with work, because I don't want to bring this guy nothing. I don't want to bring him, nobody. I don't want him to be screwed over. So you go through us, you know what I mean? For a project, for your model or whatever, we take it to him, once he's got everything, and then he does it, you pay for it, boom, you get it, you know what I mean? And you get professional level quality here. So, I mean, how can you beat that? But when we've got the AM printing solution, we have that. I told checking into the multi-channel fulfillment through Amazon. We've got a lot of different things going on, that could help the different aspects of content creation. So and I mean books. I mean, if you can make a trade paperback, you can make a gaming book.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I'm like, AM Print Solutions, if we bring them, tons of different orders for all these kind of things. And that's another thing too. See, what they do is a lot of these guys, they don't get them printed. They go just pure digital through these sort of auction services online or whatever, And I'm like, well, I mean, if you want it printed, you could. You could take it through one of these services and it wouldn't be that much. I mean, you can get a full book printed for $2 or $3, $4.
Yep.
From what I've seen, and $3-4, like you sell it for $8, you're making a decent profit. Yeah. So, there's a lot of ways that I'm like, you could crowdfund in your fans. And if we get everybody together, then they're all our fans, rising toad lifts all boats. Right. So, we got to reach, man. We got to find our community because they're out there. The comic book guys. I mean, it's 2/3. The readership has gone down by 2/3 since the 1990s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where are they? They're in all these other things, and their kids are in all these other things. We got to go get them.
We're gonna hunt down their kids.
We're coming for you. So, but it's true. It's like they're all out there, and there's, like I said, they're scattered through all these other hobbies, but they're there.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, if you're into like anime, if you're into like role playing games, if you're into, card playing, or CCGs or whatever, you're probably into comic books and stories too. Or you'd most likely, or at least a percentage of them would check it out, right? So it's just a huge amount of a group that we've got to get into.
Yeah.
And and you and I, we're working on basically we're just going to create an area where these people can come, feel welcome, and receive the help of others who are in their same place. And there can be like a symbiotic relationship there, like there'll be writers that you can find, artists that you can find. I mean, hey, game books need artists.
Yep. I'm going through that right now.
Game books need artists. And the better your book looks, the more professional it looks. Hey, the more it'll sell.
Exactly.
So
R2D2 was asking if your artwork was for Shadow Sentry, and I wanted to acknowledge that yes, it is. But
yes. Yep.
So, what's the story behind Shadow Sentry again?
So how these guys get their powers? Basically, they have a near-death experience, and when they travel to the other side, the supernatural or the like eternity, and they come back, they bring these powers with them from the other side. So hell is amassing an army, and so is heaven. So there's the Hellborn, and then there's the Highborn, and so these guys here, these are the Highborn. This is Cogent, and so it's kind of like more of a supernatural kind of story, but it's like a team book like the X-Men or something. So there'll be angels in it, demons, and but Definitely going with the classic, like superhero look and stuff for all the characters, and 90s inspired, of course. Of course, it's
Yeah,
got to
for
be.
sure.
I got the broad, kind of the broad head and like the chiseled chin.
Oh yeah.
Grabs. Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah,
So.
R2D2 for life says I'm in.
Nice, man. Yeah, and since he's watching, thank you so much, man. You retweet all my stuff, and when I do updates on the Indiegogo campaign, you're sending that out too. I really appreciate it. So that's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
Sean is always on top of it. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And like I said, he never asks for anything. I've never seen him like so much as blink anything, but for someone else. He's the Gandhi of CG.
Yeah, and I wish I knew that he backed my book. I think he did. I looked over my contribution list, and I did see a Sean on there. So if that was you, can you email me or something? Because I wanna do something special for you, man, for sure. So, yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I just got back preliminary sketch that he did. I mean, that my artist did in like, I don't know, like he said 5 or 10 minutes of him just thinking of some of the characters, or one type of these characters called ghouls in my story that are like, I did ghouls like kind of a different way. They're not just undead. What they are these spirits that police the world of the dead. And when they rise, it's because something has offended the world of the dead. And one of the ways that you offend the world of the dead is you speak, because only the dead inhabit the world of the dead and only they can speak there. So when you speak, you can visit, but if you speak, then they'll rise to come take you. And what they are just spirits, and they take the mass of whatever's around them when they rise. So if it's like rocks and dirt and tree and wood and whatever, that's what they are. If it's bone and organic matter because they're in a graveyard, then that's what it is. So that's the way they look. And he gave a first concept yesterday, and it looked awesome. I showed it to Pixel. He thought it looked pretty cool too.
Yeah, I'm all
Nice.
in on that.
What's it called?
The story is going to be called Crossroads: Sins of the Fae.
Nice. Cool, man.
Yeah, it's I guess it's paranormal in a different way. What it is we have our Earth that has for the past 40 years been inhabited by like magical creatures, and it's because 7 different worlds surround ours in kind of an alternate dimension. And in order to visit, like, they all can go to each other's place, and whenever they wanted to go visit each other, it came through our planet first. Like, they always had to, like, the bridge was our planet, was Earth. And so they've always called our planet, they always called Earth the Crossroads. And now like they're all like fairies, they're all fey creature. The fey creatures and the humans have kind of learned to live together in a way. It's not perfect, but they know each other exists now, so they're like, oh.
Deal, man. So you're the writer?
Yeah, I am the writer.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think we've ever met, but it's nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too. Eric, it was Eric, wasn't it?
Yeah. Eric with the long, unpronounceable last name.
The Nitowski.
Yeah. You got
it. Yeah. Yay! Yeah, I've seen your art. It's amazing. Obviously, because this is great. But yeah, I mean, that's the basic. Well, that's the crux of just the general world, the backdrop. The story is that you have a woman who has to embrace everything she never wanted to be to protect everything she has.
Can you say that again?
She has to embrace everything she never wanted to be to protect everything she has.
Got it. Nice. It's like I thought I heard that, but I didn't understand it the first time. That's cool, man.
Yeah, she's basically she was born into a witch coven, but never wanted to be a witch. Was taken away. Now she has 2 kids, and she's cursed. And the only way that she can protect her children is through the use of magic.
Nice.
So, and that's kind of the real basic. Starts domestic, goes global.
Cool. Nice. All right. I think I'm done on him.
So what was the? Are you the writer and the artist for this, or what is it for Shadow Sentry?
Yeah, Shadow Sentry. Yeah. So, yep, I came up with the idea, and I'm kind of just going at it all on my own. I'll have some support once the comic is once I get like the plot and everything done and the script.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send it off to somebody who can kind of edit it and just give me some feedback. Actually, I'll probably send to a bunch of guys. I got a bunch of people that would be interested in just reading it, just to get some feedback. And I just want to make sure I'm hitting all my beats in the story, and you don't want it to be too
I mean,
slow. Or
I'll take a look at it with you if you want. There's also like Cal Jameson is a really good writer.
cool. All right, yeah, man, more the merrier. Because I'm
Definitely.
I'm not a writer. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
mean, I love creating, and I can come up with a cool story, what I think is a cool story. But as far as writing the dialogue and all that stuff, like I definitely need a second set of eyes on it. So
Writing is I mean, and every kind of writing is so different. I mean, this kind of is a shorter form script writing where you have to have the actual picture tell much more of the words. I mean, that's one of the biggest problems right now with like Marvel comics. You look at them and they have 9 pages of, or 9 panels and just a bunch of pages of exposition. There's,
yeah,
so many word balloons that people are just sitting in a chair and that's all they got the room for.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, in a comic book, that's just horrible. There's,
Yeah.
nobody wants, like, just give me a book,
Yep. Yep.
And
That's what
so,
made the
good.
'90s book so cool. It was like you got all these huge splash pages and just action,
Mhm.
and it moved the story, and it just it was fun to
Absolutely.
look at. Nowadays,
Absolutely.
it's like I don't even want to look at this, let
Exactly.
alone read
Yeah.
it. It's
I
just
mean, you
boring.
got to have your splash pages. You got to have your turn pages. Give me some suspense. Give me what's going on. What's
Yeah.
suspenseful about somebody having a monologue about how depressed they are? You know,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go look up, old cold cases for psych couches. I'm sure they got some on YouTube. Some poor person, like, oh my God, my dog died. Now I can't live. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, or, old country music, kind of the same thing.
New
Right.
comics are old country.
I lost my dog. I don't have a car. My woman left me. you know.
By the way, my name is Superman.
Right.
Oh goodness, it's kind of sad how good that fits, isn't it? So, yeah, that's cool. I mean, what gave you the idea for Shadow Sentry?
Well, so I was always an X-Men fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Christian, so I wanted there to be like a supernatural kind of element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just thought, as far as getting their powers, I wanted that to be unique. And, so the near-death
Mm-hmm.
experience was like the closest I can come to them stepping into, the other side. And,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like an unexplored realm, so if these guys are
Mm-hmm.
coming back from heaven or hell and they're given these powers, then it's they're still human, but they have these supernatural powers. So that was my way of giving him powers, and then the rest was just okay. Now how
Like
do
a,
I come up
a
with it?
much more lighthearted take, or lighthearted event horizon.
Yeah. Right. So and then it's a team book, so I have all these characters and they have their powers, and but then I had to come up with something as far as to drive the story. So it revolves around this one boy he's the product of a highborn and a hellborn coming together, and they have a baby, and it's never
Mm-hmm.
been done before. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, like this kid is going to be either amazing or he's going to be nothing, but everybody wants him. So he kind of disappears off the map because his mom runs away with him and doesn't want anybody to get him just in case. And so he's been gone for 18 years or whatever. And so now he kind of just shows up on the scene, and that's when the story starts. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a rush to get this boy. And so yeah, and then it kind of follows his who he is and everything like that, and then you learn everything, the
So is he the
backstory.
hero, and
Uh,
they're kind of his team around him?
well, he's how do I say this without giving away too much story? Uh, they don't know if he is or not
This is
yet.
how the hero is basically in a story that you know the hero because the hero wants something.
Yeah.
Well,
So he will be the hero, you know what I mean? But
Okay.
it's like, so
Okay.
we're kind of finding out who this boy is.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a learning thing for the reader. It's not like, oh, he's the one. He's not yet, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
yeah. So
I gotcha.
yeah. I don't know where else to go with that.
Well, I mean, Cal and I were having this little mini discussion, but he wanted to curtail it. He wouldn't go on because I think he thought I was going to give too much away. Um, being a reader, being a writer, I pick up on things very easily, and when the kind of the subtlety in writing, and when it's not subtle, I pick up on it, and it just makes my eyes roll. I was like, ugh, like Tom King. Tom King, I get where he's going. You know what I mean? He's trying to use a lot of device and theory that he's not a good enough writer to do subtly. And so he hits you over the head with it. He also can't take himself out of his characters. And so all of his characters act like him. They're all, Catwoman, but, or Tom King as Catwoman, Tom King as Batman, Tom King as Flash. So what you have are, I mean, because I can break it down for you. Mr. Miracle, what happened to him with Tom King? Mr. Miracle, the most optimistic man and the guy who can escape anything, couldn't escape the torment inside his own mind. Oh, gee, isn't that ironic? Batman, the greatest detective in the world. What's the one mystery he can't solve? Himself. Flash, fastest man alive. So what do you do with him? You make it so, that again, the one person that he can't run away from, himself.
Yeah.
I get it, Tom King. I get it, brother. But your irony is like a baseball bat hitting everyone over the head and bludgeoning them to death.
Yeah.
Over here. That's
And
looking good.
Pixel's like, okay, well. So all I would say is, I mean, in a story, you want to be as subtle as you can be about everything, but obviously, the thing is, you want a hero, and the hero wants something, and there's somebody that's going to oppose them because they either, want something that opposes that want, or they just want to stop that person. And that's really it. And from there, you create, like I was going to say, you have a team. One of the hardest things to do with a team is to make the team all useful, but not overtly powerful. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want anybody to just take the limelight and be like, I don't need you other guys. I'm here.
Yeah.
Which is, let's face it, isn't that sometimes what Superman feels like? I feel like that's what, the whole idea of Justice League is to make a team that, either something is so awesome that they need Superman too, or that they're like, look, we're useful too. See, we can do stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think that's having the heroes have their weakness, is helpful, so it makes them human, but it's also like they have to overcome this weakness. They are strong, but it's like, well, crap, what do I do here? I don't, I can't do it.
What I try to do when I'm making magical or super characters is I think in my head, okay, this is a tool set to solve a problem, but it is not the end all be all. They're not God.
Yeah.
So it's an extra tool set, but they're still human. So you write them with as much verisimilitude as possible. You want them to come off as human or come off as whatever their instinct is. There was this great panel that Willis released for Jameson's new book, the Shinobi Sasquatch, yesterday, where it was, you could see in this one panel the shame and the gentleness in the main character, the main protagonist's eyes, and the way and the action that it was making. In that one panel, I could tell that it was sorry for what it had done. It didn't want to be the beast that it was, and that it was ashamed. So what is his major want? It's right there. its major one is it doesn't want to be like that. It wants to be in control of itself.
Getting deep on us, Doc.
Yeah, man. I want to see that page now.
It's an amazing page, man. Or it's amazing like panel, and then that page.
Yeah, I backed that book like right away.
Yeah.
I love that, his art style and everything, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I picked that one up. I just picked up Monster MD because that one just seems way too much fun not to pick up.
That just seems like non-stop action.
That's going to be fantastic, I think.
I mean, it just looks like it starts and goes ba-boom. You know? And somewhere along the lines, there's an invisible nurse, you know?
Which is amazing. I think that's a great concept.
I think it's cool. I mean, it wasn't. It's creative. It's different. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot you can do with that. You know, she strips and then she's just in a room, and then he had that one panel where she was smoking and her lungs were filling up with smoke, or not filling up but going around and everything. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, her name is Heidi, which is amazing.
Yeah, hide me.
Hidden nurse named Heidi. Oh, man. Yeah,
so tell us about these characters, man. What's going on with them?
So this is Brazen. He's the leader of the core team. There's also another guy.
He Brazen?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
So he wields a supernatural sword. And then let's see here. Ganon. He has not had a near-death experience, but he knows the other guy who is the leader. His name is Commander Noble. So he's like the commander, obviously. So he worked with him in the military in past years, and so he comes over to the team. But he's more of the, the guy who doesn't. He just kind of does whatever he wants to do, kind of guy. He's not beholden to the team as much. But he loves guns, and so he's got like homemade guns and stuff. And then we got Cogent. He is a huge dude, but he also controls momentum. So he's like the strength of the team, but he controls momentum and can chuck things just using his power. And then I wanted him to have these huge gloves just because I love that kind of stuff. So he's just enormous. Then there's other guys. I don't have all the sketches. These are going to be finalized and colored, and then the final look of and feel of each character. So I'm kind of getting this all nailed down right now. I do have the promo art. Did you see the final promo art I did for the team?
I have not. Show it to me. Give us the goods, man. What's going on?
So this is full color.
Ooh,
image I did.
Yeah, I like that piece.
So here we have Glare. She controls light, and it just emanates from her like very body, from her being, and she can kind of tap into people's minds and stuff as well. So there's Ganon. You see him there. This is Mist. He's kind of like the mystical kind of being. Very, I don't know, like talks like with that old kind of style of talking. If you're like reading a Bible, like that's how he talks. And he's got some different powers. I won't get into all of his stuff. He's kind of, I'm saving him for the
mission.
No. This is my artwork that I did, just like the final promo art for it. So I did all the pencils and inks.
You're better now.
What do you mean?
You're better. This is really good, but you're better now.
Thanks, man. So yeah, so there's Brazen. This is Deke. He can fly really fast, controls momentum and gravity, and then you see Cogent in the back there. So, and it's kind of funny because I drew him with his back towards us because I really didn't know what the front of his outfit would look like yet. So that's why I'm kind of going through this.
You're like, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do.
Yeah. I've got all these like concept designs I've done and
I see. So you changed it a little bit. Is the upper face is covered now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Actually, my bad. I'm probably gonna go with this look. For some reason,
Okay.
For some reason, I thought I had more of the Captain America mask, but I don't. Okay, I like that better.
You're like, thanks.
It's silly how but yeah, man. So
So are these
that's the
based on some of your favorite characters? Because these look like a combination of different characters. Like Mist looks a little bit like a wizard. Ganon almost looks like Ryu with a gun.
no correlation there, but
Where have I seen that? Brazen. I mean, he looks like a. Is it Berserk? He looks kind of. No, it's not Berserk.
oh, you're thinking of the dude with the huge sword?
Yeah, he does. Like
Guts.
I don't know, but it's cool, and it's all really cool. I mean, honestly, like there's nothing that's completely 100% original. You know what I mean? Everything's it's in how you tell it, how you present it. You know, your swagger.
Exactly. Right,
you
right.
know? There's nothing like utterly fantastic about the idea of a bionic frog, but you know, Ethan sells it, so that's good to go.
Yeah, man.
So did you try to make everything? Because it seems like you did. Like I see, like there's not a whole lot of dark and shadow. There's a lot of like holiness, kind of like holy energy or divinity. Like you know, like the sword. I mean, totally looks like the colors and everything look like something I would see in a video game that was like a divine weapon.
Yeah. No, it is. It's like an angelic sword almost. So that's perfect. It's coming across.
So what, like, you know, what would be cool that you could do is you could like hellify or high bonify people, you know?
Yeah.
Like a quick kind of, you know, extra $25 on the tier, you know, be like, hey, I will give you a power and make you someone, you know, whether or not you're in the book, you know, but you know, they could have like an avatar or something.
Yeah.
That could be your team, right? Team Shadow Sentry.
Right. And well, you know, I was thinking like, what was it, like Team Cap or Team Iron Man? It's like, well, do you want to be
Team Light and Team Dark or something?
Yeah.
You know, be interesting. There you go. People love that stuff. I mean, who was it before they had their little bit of falling out? Cecil and who was the clown guy? Pixel, help me. Nurkish. There we go. Nurkish. I mean, they had that whole like Nurkish versus Cecil going, you know, and that was huge. Like there were people like, I'm Team Cecil. Oh, I'm Team, you know. So it's a big marketing thing. People like to participate. They like to feel, you know, the transparency and they like to just feel a part of their beloved creator's world.
Yeah. Get yourself drawn in a book. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good ideas, man.
Hey, I'm just, you know, that's like I said, you know, like Pixel and I are here to try and help people. We've been studying these campaigns. It feels like forever. And especially, you know, the behinds of them. And we're just trying to help people out how to get, you know, not only this, but like the infrastructure of the post process as well, you know, the fulfillment, the distribution, you know, the different kind of options that you can look for that, you know, will or won't cost a lot of money, things that you can do to help yourself, you know, those kind of deals. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
So are you printing through the same printer that Mike is going through? Is that?
As far as the comics or the prints?
As far as the comics go.
Yeah, I don't even know yet. To be honest, I don't know who he printed with.
I don't know. I think it was somebody up in Canada. I'm not sure. I was kind of curious because he seemed like he had the hookup from somebody that he didn't want to share. So I didn't know if maybe he had the inside line on it, knew who it was. But
no, I will ask him though.
Gotcha.
I will need to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the prints you do yourself, right? The metal prints.
I have somebody that I send them to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't do them myself. We were actually, me, Mike, and our friend Oli were looking into trying to get a printer and printing all the metals ourselves just to save tons of money.
Yeah.
But it just, you know, it never really worked out.
Gotcha.
So we did find a local guy actually just recently who is going to hook us up with really good prices, but he just has to get the metal and find a good distributor for the metal.
I mean, did you mind being that transparent, or is that something you can't talk about?
Yeah, I don't mind. You know, there's one guy that a lot of people use in the industry for conventions and stuff. Their price is about $15, maybe a little more with shipping. And then there's another printer who we were going through, but quality and stuff was just not there. They're, you know, going like $10 for a 12 by 18 print.
Hmm.
but it was just quality's everything. So
And these are metallic.
yeah, they're printed on metal. Here's one that I did for the Friday night auction that I did a remark on. So this is a Captain America metal. This is on a white metal, so it's a little bit different. This doesn't need as much light, like direct light, to kind of show off the metallic look, but it doesn't have that brush metal sheen to it. So, but yeah, and it's on like a really thicker metal. I don't know if you can see that. Typically, they're maybe half this.
Yeah, that is pretty thick. Wow.
Yeah. So this is a local guy, and we've been getting like a few here and there, but his prices are more because the metal's thicker and a little bit higher quality.
That is crazy.
Yeah, they're good looking. When you walk by his booth at a con, like we were, Sierra Whiskey and I walked by it, and we were both going, "Whoa, those look really cool." And actually, I think I might have told you this, Eric, but when we saw you at the con, we first thought that we noticed the artwork. I think he noticed the Shazam piece. He's like, "Wait a minute, that I know that piece," and he thought at first it might have been somebody trying to pass your work off for just at the convention or whatever. And we're like, we're gonna get this guy, and then I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's Eric. We're okay.
We're gonna get this dude.
That's funny.
Yeah, you're under your desk or under the table or something at the time, like we're grabbing something, and then you stood up. I'm like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, and I didn't have my big banner with my name on it because I left it at home. So typically I'd have my name displayed, but that's totally funny.
That's great. Yeah, it was cool. I think they're really awesome. Also, what was it? Mike. Mike has cards now too that are metal cards, little card size ones that looked really cool as well. And they print really.
Sounds
good.
like a possible weapon.
Right.
Yeah, you immediately start thinking of Gambit. I'm like, yeah, Gambit can throw these.
I was just thinking of that kid in what is it? Now You See Me 2 or whatever, where he's like throwing the cards at the people.
Oh yeah.
Or Now You See Me, I guess. I don't know. That's cool.
Yeah, they look really nice.
Wow. I mean, does the price go down if you order a lot of them?
On the small comic book size ones that I do, yes. But on the big ones, not so much.
I can imagine that. I mean, it's still a bunch of metal, a ton of metal. But
Yeah.
probably at that point, like he's like,
Yeah. I was thinking for the campaign, I think I want to do like a variant with an actual metal cover on the comic.
Oh,
they do the comic size metals, and I thought that'd be really cool. I don't think anybody's done that yet, have they?
I mean, I think Scott Payne with Chaotic Flux did like metallic foil.
Yeah, he did foil, but he didn't do a metal print on the cover.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I think somebody did, or somebody was talking about doing it, where they just used like adhesive on the back of the metal and then attached it. But
yeah,
I can't remember.
That doesn't seem good.
Well, you'd have to, because I mean, the book itself will be paper, but then you have to attach the metal print to the front of it.
Whoa!
Your mic just went crazy for a second there.
Oh, am I good? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're fine now.
Your volume shot up to about 300% for a moment.
Oh wow, sorry, man.
That's okay.
It's okay. We know you didn't mean to blow our eardrums.
That's all good. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, you'd have to, because the book itself would be paper, just traditional comic, and then you'd have the metal print on the cover, and you'd have to adhere it somehow.
Yeah.
But,
that'd be difficult because I know like it's just a plate change for them to do the paper and the foil and all that.
Yeah, this would just be like a sketch cover type scenario, I guess, or a blank cover, and then you would just glue it onto the paper.
It seems like it would be better at that point just to send it and almost to be like a variant, because then they'd get like a different picture and that'd be kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like you just have you get an extra comic, and like that way if they want to have that done, then they can do it, or because otherwise, I mean, I don't know, that just seems like you could screw up a lot of books trying to do that.
Right.
So
I would just say, here's the print, here's the comic.
Yeah, I think there are a few people that have done it that way. I can't remember who it was, but I remember a discussion about this a little while back. It might have even been Mike talking about doing that. But actually, I think he did. You hit up Mike sometime and ask him. I think he did a couple of the Lone Star books that way.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask him.
I just don't know that. I don't know. Like I'm just looking into it. I'm like, I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah, I think if I wanted a metal print, I would frame it and put it up somewhere. I would just
Yeah.
But
well, like Peter Simeti was talking about, everybody with these like variant covers and everything. He's like, wouldn't it be cool if you could shrink these down? And he basically said like a card size, so that people could trade them and everything. And I'm like, usually people like to put them on their wall, or they like them in some kind of, you know what I mean? And a card is a little small for that. But I could see like having an extra print, like some comics with extra prints.
Yeah.
And or like, poly bag, and inside is the print and the book, something like that. And having these kind of variant covers included with something like that. Because I don't know, like if I'm getting a picture, I don't want it the size of like my driver's license.
Right. That's what trading cards are for.
Exactly. Now, and I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a missing element within a lot of Comicsgate, because honestly, it seems like these guys don't want to work with one another at that level. But to make like a kind of, because you keep saying like a trading thing, but nobody's trading.
Yeah, having a cool card game based on the stuff would be fun. It would be hard
Exactly
to coordinate everybody. Yeah, make them look right.
Thank you for reading my mind.
Well, it's been bounced around before. I think a few people were talking about, and that's what the original cards were going to be. I think with a lot of this stuff, but then things changed with some of the creators, and people left that were doing the designs, and so it kind of fell off the radar.
I think that's one of the things, and I was telling people the other day, where the smaller group that you and I are sort of like helping usher along, we're a little bit more mobile. There's a little bit more mobilization, and we can be a little bit quicker on things. And and if we want to work together, you know what I mean, then you can do a little bit more. Like we could create, once we. Oh man, we've got to get Model that money, so that we got to get those printers, man, so that we can get like some of these cooler ideas out. Like we could create like a HeroScape 3D game of CG. I think that would sell. Outside of just comic book fans, I think it would sell like crazy.
Yeah.
All the cool characters that everybody would be like, wow, where did these characters come from? And then when they go investigate that, they find the comics.
Yeah, we'd have to work out licensing and all that too, but I think it would be fun. It'd be really cool to get a good game going.
I mean, I don't think that all that stuff is that incredibly difficult, as long as you're willing to work with one another and accept what you get.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be a billionaire, then yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Right.
Well,
I am gonna have to take off, guys. I gotta work on some other pages for that other job I'm doing.
Okay, cool.
But thanks so much for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for popping in. It was good talking to you.
We appreciate it.
It was nice to meet you, Doctor.
It was nice to meet you too, Eric. You have an excellent day, man.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for all the advice, guys, and yeah, look forward to chatting more with you guys.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, sounds good, dude.
All right, take care.
You too, brother.
All right.
So how is your stuff coming along?
I don't like my robot.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't quite like my robot design here. I think I need to dump it and start over. I don't know. I haven't, at least, okay. I like the upper body somewhat. It kind of goes to crap in the middle here. I think I need to do more with this area. But
you like the upper body? Okay. And then it goes to
upper body's okay. The middle torso area kind of goes to garbage, and I don't know where the heck the legs are going. I have this weird thing for lanky robots. And I tend to draw that way, but I'm not sure that's what I want. But I don't know if I want like a Baymax though either. I'm not really sure where this is going here, and it's driving me nuts.
We need to get I think you need to do a DNFQ competition to make the robot.
Yeah, I think so. I might have to do that. DNQ would be fun.
Like just do one of those and be like, hey, if you do this, we got to work out the particulars of what we want to do with the swimsuit edition, because everybody seems to want it.
Yeah.
You know who we should reach out to is Slick Jimmy.
Yeah,
Because he already does all that the cheesecake challenge and everything. We can it could be a twofer. We could do it on both shows.
yeah, that's true. That's a possibility.
Cross promotion, cross pollination. I mean, why not?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Get the cheesecake challenge involved. I'll have to see. I think I'm going to push it out to July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Do a whole patriotic thing, so like red, white, and boobs kind of thing.
Red, white, and boobs.
Yeah. I think we'll have to name it something different though. That way the YouTube algorithm doesn't get mad at us. But
Yeah. The feminazis don't attack. Oops, sorry.
my bad.
So, yeah, I'm excited about what Jose is going to produce. He started reading my novel and he was just like, "Oh, this is a cool idea. This is what I came up with." I was like, "I like it."
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool when the first concept you get, you're like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And then he's like, and I'm thinking they could, throw stuff and then it could like ignite with all the gas buildup from the rot. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I could go with it. I mean, it's a comic book change that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
It's plausible. It's in a magical world. So I'm cool with it. They use their arm like a lacrosse stick and fling it and, projectiles fly out and there's a little bit of flint somewhere in there. And so it ignites. Cool. Because of the gas that's like in their literal bodies, it explodes.
Yeah, that's
or
right.
I mean, and it gives something that's cooler to see, than just a normal like ghoul, like, coming up the steps trying to scratch you.
Yeah.
Like in a movie that works because you hear it and you feel it and everything, but like in a comic book, you're like, okay.
Right.
And I mean, that was one of the things with can we talk about books here?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of the things with like Stardust and Nasser's comic is like he wanted to invoke the sense of fear, but nobody seemed afraid.
Oh, gotcha.
And nothing. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, you show me, there was a picture at the very end that was like this strange vampiric creature kind of flowing in the wind. And it honestly, the way that it was depicted looked like one of those like $8 pinata type things you could get from Party City during Halloween.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. I mean, I get it. I understand, this it's difficult to describe it, a difficult thing to really make scary. But I mean, that's the thing is that like, to scare somebody in a book, it's got to be emotional.
Yeah.
Especially a comic book, because like you're probably not going to scare me with a picture of a vampire. I've seen a bunch of them, good and bad, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So you've got to do it with the story. And I mean, I could see like there was some trying, like, he had like Dutch angles and, what is it? The sinister, tilted to the left and that kind of thing. The different sort of angles to kind of make you look like it's outer worldly, but it just didn't come across because it was too quick. There was no build up. There was no, like in a story, you've got to have that. That's why manga is so good. Like you read like light novels, especially like it's kind of funny following some of these series from light novel to manga to anime, because they lose a little bit, like there's a little lost in translation at each step,
Yeah.
and it's because the light novel is mostly prose, couple pictures, right? It's like a picture like every half a chapter or whatever, depends on the person doing it. Then the manga obviously is more like a comic book, and then the anime is cartoon. And so at each step you have to have one element kind of emphasized over the other to get it across to the audience what you're saying. And so at each step, like, you kind of lose some of the subtlety.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just, there's no way to pick it up, unless you're just a master. You know, I mean, there are some, like, obviously, like Studio Ghibli can do all of it, right?
Yeah,
You know, they were able to do all of it, but most of the time, you know, a craftsman kind of has to choose. You know, hey, this looks really cool, over, you know, any kind of like a, I don't know, I don't want to say a difficult story, but like an emotional or impactful story, something you're really going to remember,
right.
you
Yeah.
know. And it's like I was talking to Cal Jameson earlier, and we were talking about Tom King again, and I'm like, Tom King puts so much of himself in there that you lose the subtext to the character, because the subtext is what's been created by their actions for the past 60 years, right? And he writes them as himself, so they lose all that subtext. And then what's the reward? Your payoff is like a byline or or a monologue, like where, you know, Batman acts like a dork all night long, but then he's like, "Yeah, you guys keep saying you're gonna beat me, but I'm still here." And it's like, uh-huh. We wish you weren't. Like, you know? And I don't know, like, he's turned Batman into like the mopey, like, 9 to 5er. You know, he gets home and sits on his bed and tries to whine to Catwoman, and she's like, "Uh-huh," as she does her makeup. You know?
And he doesn't even have that now. Dumped him.
It's so horrible, man. She's like, "You're this weird guy that benches 800 pounds and you don't know what you're doing with your life. Just go away."
Right.
I mean, he's turned Batman into, like, literally just an active incel.
It's funny.
But I mean, isn't that what he is? He's, you know, he lives in his own basement. Technically, it is his mother's basement.
Yeah, I guess I'll think about that.
You know?
Zayd, you want to come hang out with us, dude?
Oh, is that the guy that wrote the books? The
Yeah,
elemental books?
Zayd Comics. He's got Magic Cop.
Well, come in here and talk to us.
Let's see if he wants to pop in.
Clip Studio, have you done art?
Yeah, I haven't done any animation inside of Clip Studio. I've just been learning the ropes of how to not drive it like Photoshop.
What did you think about the new FF7? I kind of think it loses some of the nuance of the polygons.
To be honest, I haven't looked at it. So here's the thing: I didn't have a PlayStation, and I never played Final Fantasy VII more than just watching a buddy play it. I never had a chance to.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't get on that whole kind of vibe.
That was my first, like, she got away story, was Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came out, and I was dating a girl in college, and I was like, that game looks so awesome, but I didn't have the money for it at the time. And she was like, "I'll get it for you." And I was like, if you get that for me, you're not going to see me for a couple weeks. So she bought it for me like the next day, or the day it came out, or whatever. And I kind of disappeared. Me and my friends sat in my dorm and played Final Fantasy VII.
She was trying to get rid of
you. Maybe it worked. She would call me every day, though. She'd call me like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I gotta go by.
Sorry, playing game.
We lived on, like, rallies.
Oh, that's funny.
Rallies, fast food, and what was it? Going to at that time, you know, the internet wasn't quite as widely populated, so we would actually, there was a hotline to get all the information on the game. It was a couple times I called it.
Oh, that's funny.
It's sad. I know. I remember, like, all three of us, you know, grown men, really, you know, 22 years old, crying because Aerith died.
Spoilers, jeez.
Yeah, you know, it's only 20 years old.
Oh, man.
That's nuts. So, what did you think about some of the E3 stuff? Have you had a chance to check out any of it, or anybody's streams on it, or anything?
So yeah, I saw that Keanu Reeves is a character inside of Cyberpunk 2077.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Yeah,
drinking
this
my
is
iced
like
coffee
Keanu Reeves' year.
here. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
he came back because, like, I thought John Wick 2 was a little bit of a downer. Like, it was a good movie, but I didn't think it was as good as John Wick 1. And then, 3 came out, and 3 was just awesome.
Oh, 3 was amazing.
3 was everything. Like, if you're a Wick fan, you loved 3. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only scene that kind of made me go, that's not quite right, was the scene when he was fighting the two guys upstairs, and
With the knives.
right where it seemed like it was a little too slow. Like,
Yeah, well, it seemed like they had a bit they wanted to run, and they were gonna run it, no matter what. Because, like, how can you not see that there are all these things around you? They just all like, oh, they're here. We have weapons, and then they started throwing them at each other, and it was like, okay.
oh no, I'm talking about the scene though, like where he's fighting it's like right before he fights the main boss. He's got the two guys that really respect
Oh,
him.
yeah. That was, again, because they were like fans of him, so they like could
Yeah,
have killed
and
him but didn't.
that
Yeah,
was totally fine. It just felt like the action it wasn't as sharp. Like it was a little
I
too.
kind of liked that though, because I felt like he was exhausted.
Yeah, I get that, and that's kind of probably what it really was, or how they were trying to portray it. But it came
Mhm.
across a little like they were pulling their moves, or they weren't executing as cleanly as it probably should.
Mhm.
Maybe I need to watch it again, and maybe or something. I don't know. It felt a little slow, like it wasn't quite as good as it could have been. But I mean, dude, that movie was on point. I really liked Halle
Yeah.
Berry's character. I liked the way that everything.
I hope she comes back.
Yeah, me
I
too.
thought she was great.
Yeah, I like the dogs.
All
Yeah,
the dogs were the greatest, man.
the dogs
Like,
were
they were the bestest of boys.
like I was getting all pissed. I'm like, well, I don't want to spoil too much for people, but like when one of them gets shot, it was
Oh, yeah.
like, dude. I mean, granted,
The way they fought was so cool, though.
yeah,
The way that they actually got in there, and like it was like dog foo.
yeah, basically,
I mean, they didn't just like attack people. They because they would use the momentum of their swing. It's like they knew they weren't as big as the people, but they would like grab them and swing
yeah,
from either their flesh or their clothes, and then end up kind of in a different dynamic position. And I was like, that's cool.
yeah. The choreography with the animals was fantastic.
Yeah. It was just, I was like, wow, okay. I mean, if you did fight that woman with those dogs, just you're gone. You're done.
Correct. Yeah.
You're done, son. It's over. She's gonna say some word you don't know, and you're gonna be dead.
Yup.
So I don't know. I thought that was great.
Yeah. Overall, I thought the movie was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it in the theater.
Hmm.
No regrets. And the fact I only paid $4 for it through T-Mobile was amazing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Discounts are always good. Makes up for the $10 popcorn and a drink.
Right. If we're
And
gonna complain
then,
about pricing, we need to start complaining about movie prices. Come on. Holy crap, dude.
yeah, it's like, I mean, I can get into a movie around here for about $7, but to get the popcorn and get a drink, just that, like a medium popcorn and a drink, I think it's like $8.
Yeah.
And then what's stupid is to get the large is like $9.50 or something. Then a large of both, it's like, okay, what am I paying for?
Yeah.
You know,
All right. This
they
doesn't.
started serving alcohol in one alcohol, like basic beer and wine and stuff, and it's like, this little draft of wine is something like $12.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like 9 ounce or 8 ounces, or 8 to 10 ounces. I'm like, this is I could what? No. I'm not a connoisseur of wine by any means. Usually I like sweet wine. I'm not a big. I remember one time going out with a friend of mine to a friend, like a girl I was dating, a Greek festival, and we had this wine, and I made this weird face, and she's like, "You don't like it?" And I was like, "How do you know?" And she's like, "Because you look like you're about to puke." I was like, "Yeah, okay."
I'm trying to figure out how to make this emotive. Like, I want him to have teeth, kind of like, so he can grit his teeth and stuff. But I don't want him to look stupid.
You want your gastropod to have teeth?
Yeah, he needs to have teeth.
So you want a werewolf snail? Why is everyone doing werewolves?
I don't know, because werewolves are awesome. Did Eric do the Major X redesign? I don't think he did. Not that I'm aware of. That's Layfield, right?
Mm.
But
Well, Layfield did the original character, and I think he drew the first one, but then he hired somebody to draw the rest of them.
Oh, gotcha.
He's been whining. Everybody's been whining at him all week. He like got off of Twitter apparently. He was just getting bothered, and he started blocking people. And then earlier today he said, you can find me on Instagram. I'm leaving Twitter.
That's probably what a lot of people need to do. It's just get the hell off of Twitter. I hate to say it, man, but Twitter can
It's a violent platform. It really is. Like, I mean, it's bloody,
Yeah.
But the problem is it is one of the best for marketing and advertisement. It's still, I mean, people keep saying, "Oh, it's horrible for this, it's horrible for that." Then why do you stay on it? Like Tim Pool, every other day he talks about how horrible it is, but he's still there.
Oh yeah, because he knows where his audience is.
Yeah,
and that's the thing too. You complain about the thing while you're on it the whole time, and then it's like once you get booted off of it, oh, why'd you take me off of it? You weren't happy here, were you? No, but still.
Right. Somebody actually downvoted us.
Nice.
Yes.
I needed a downvote.
Well, I like to be equilateral. Right? We gotta provide that entertainment that people hate too.
They're like, what? I was promised Eric Niedotowski. Where is Eric Niedotowski? Where is Matt Cosson? I'm sorry. I don't have I've got the doctor here.
I know, right? I'm not good enough.
They're looking at the snail going, why is he drawing a snail? And yeah.
Because his comic book is called Critical Snail.
Yep. What's up, Sim? Also another very talented artist.
Yeah, he does a lot of fan art that's amazing.
Yep. It's also got some stuff coming pretty soon. Actually, he's got I think
the Blood Hunt, right?
Yeah, Blood Hunt's out there right now, I think.
Why don't you come in here and talk about Blood Hunt, Simon? What you got going on?
What time is it right now? 11:42.
Yeah.
All right.
Come in here and talk to us about your comic book.
We should probably talk about what we're going to be doing with this channel too.
All right.
We got a brand new channel here, and we're not doing anything in our streams. What are we doing with this channel, Doc?
Well, what we're going to do is one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have a segment called Ready to Play, which Ready to Play is going to be a way that we review or preview comic books and books that some of the creators that we're associated with have coming out or have already come out with. And what it's going to be is it's going to be a game, like a TTRPG, tabletop role-playing game, like Dungeons and Dragons or Rifts, GURPS, that kind of thing, if any of you are into that sort of deal. And so we're going to pick some players and pick some people to probably going to have an ongoing campaign because people like that kind of thing. That happens. I don't know if we're going to be able to do weekly just because everybody's schedule, but bi-weekly, I think that people could swing. And so we'll do like a bi-weekly, like, consistent campaign. And then every other week as well, we'll do like a review on somebody's work by creating a game based on the story, And so I think that'll be a lot of fun to play through, a superhero world, like play through Shadow Sentry, you
Mhm.
know, and team up with Brazen, as an NPC, and he takes you through whatever, you know what I mean, fighting the scavengers of the Hellborn, or going to the world of ferrymen, and trying to just figure out what's going on with the rebels that believe that glory is fake, and is it fake or isn't it? Well, you don't know. You want to find out?
Eat the
All you
book.
got to do is die.
Yeah, all you gotta do is die. It's true. Very true.
So I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. Or we can go hunt vampires with Blood Hunt, right? I don't know the main character. I'm sorry, Simon. So I think that's going to be, a different way of introducing characters and world to everybody, and I think everybody's going to really like it. They're going to get into it. The only thing I've seen that's anything close to that is where Critical Role used to do like celebrity D&D kind of thing. Like they would get like like Vin Diesel or something and talk about his movie and do a game based on that movie.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it'll take off too once we get people into it. Simon says he loves the snail.
I like the snail too.
What gave you the idea for a snail?
Well, the name of the company. Well, I should actually give some backstory. Um, the game I've been working on, we we created the name Critical Snail for the company itself, and it was based on the phrase "critical fail" for like rolling, because we're a
Mm-hmm.
tabletop game. But we decided we wanted a mascot, and so we're like, well, Critical Snail kind of rolls with the critical fail kind of thing, and we're like, oh, we were really slow to build this game, so it all kind of made sense. And over time, we decided that we wanted to have a snail. So the logo for the company is actually a snail made out of the character's CNS. And then we're like, we need the actual mascot. So then I started bouncing around some ideas for a snail that was just retarded. It was like there was all these different pictures of him that I drew that were just really, really bad. But then I drew this one, which became the major picture that everybody recognizes now, which is the one I don't have handy here. One second, let me pull it up.
The
But
one where it's kind of like slithering along and it's got the weapons coming out of it and everything.
yeah, where he's got the gun drawn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I came up with that piece, and we're like, yes, this is it. This is what we want. And so that's where it kind of came from. It was just supposed to be a mascot initially, and
Mm-hmm.
as I started showing it to people, all these ideas started flowing. It's like, well, what if it did this? Or what if he did that? I'm like, yeah, he could totally do that. Oh, cool. Then if we do this, then we can do that with him. Like, yeah, we could do that too. And
I mean, that's how it goes, like I said, working with Jose, like he's like, he looks at my ideas and he's like, well, what about this? And I'm like, that works.
yeah, yeah. So here's the initial concept piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a 1 day sketch, and actually I've got the time lapse over on my channel, YouTube/Pixel Trader,
Mhm.
and it's just something I slapped together. Finally, at one night, I was like, let me just try something here, and then all kinds of ideas started flowing from it. And one thing we had talked about originally was that the snail could wear different costumes and things to represent different factions, like
Mhm.
the cyborg faction could have this guy, or maybe or like a different game, like a medieval thing. He could be wearing like a
Mhm.
Viking hat, or who knows. I mean, there was lots of different ideas that we could go with here, but
Yeah, like movie studios do with their logos.
exactly. And so we we threw that around a lot, but then just all of a sudden, this kind of, I don't remember who I was talking to. It might have been Sierra Whiskey. We were throwing some ideas around, and I was talking to a few other people about it, and uh, it finally came around. It's like, why don't you turn this into a character? Why don't you turn this into a book? And I had no reason not to. Like, I'm like, well, I started thinking about like, well, what could I say to why shouldn't I do this? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, no. I mean, the only thing that it might happen is it could cause some brand confusion with the game company, but it's our friggin' mascot, so it doesn't really matter, right? So that's kind of how we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna do the snail. Uh, the core idea of the book right now is super super light. I don't have much information about it. The only thing I know is that it's going to be like, a Jerry Bruckheimer, Michael Bay film with starring Inspector Gadget as a snail.
Got you.
That's all we've really got here. But the origin is pretty much figured out. There's some inner workings and stuff in the middle there that I don't quite have figured out, but the core of it is he is a African land snail or some kind of relative of that. And if anybody, because I think I talked about this a little bit earlier, but just for people that are here now, an African land snail can get pretty large. And they can be larger than your hand. So like they're big snails, and you can't have them as pets in the U.S., but you can over in like Europe and stuff. But what I wanted to have happen was one of these snails somehow winds up on a barge or some kind of transport ship, and in the course of living on that ship, he winds up getting damaged. His shell gets broken, and I'm thinking a teenager at this point. We'll see how this works out, but I'm thinking a teenage girl is going to find him. She's a tinkerer, so she takes him back to where she's at, and basically creates a new shell for him.
And she's got to be hot, right?
Well, so that's the thing. She doesn't have to be hot yet. But so here's what I was doing in my head. Okay,
Okay.
In my head, I'm saying, okay, you got to have hot, because snails aren't going to sell to everybody. So you got to have a hot like chick to go with the snail. So I can't make her a tiny, like a little girl, unless a lot of time's going to pass, and that would be kind of weird. So we're going to say it's a teenager who is cute but not hot, who takes him in. She might be a little tomboyish. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But takes him in, fixes him up, gives him a nice little shell. Maybe she looks like Pope Fire. And then we're going to go through all this stuff with her. And then the ship gets attacked. And these ravagers or raiders, whatever you want to call them, they come in, they kidnap the girl, they disable the ship, and leave him for dead. Pirates come along, they find the ship, they find him. They pick up whatever wasn't picked off the ship, but they take him with them because he's useful. He's got like a little arm. There's some little stuff that they decide that he could help them with their crimes. Pope Soul, gross. Never mind. She doesn't want to hang out with a snail. Okay. So anyway, the pirates take him. He winds up being used for their crimes or their actions or whatever. We'll make him cool pirates, so they're not like stupid pirates. But anyway, he gets upgrades while he's working with them, up to the point where they finally find an alien artifact type thing that attaches itself to him and becomes his new shell. And the alien artifact, a lot like Ben 10 and other cool sciencey MacGuffins, where you can just say it does whatever the hell you want it to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be able to do whatever the hell it wants to. So it'll morph. It'll just pull random stuff out of his shell. So he needs to fly. All of a sudden, a rocket like pack pops out of his shell. He needs to, I don't know, like fight somebody in hand-to-hand combat, a spear or like a sword or something.
Okay.
Whatever. I mean, obviously, a 1 foot by 1 foot snail isn't really probably going to get into too many fights, but it's hard to say for sure. So I wanted to be able to sprout arms. Maybe he walks on the arms. There's so much to this character I haven't quite decided on yet, but I want to have the same type of vibe as like Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Where it's absurd, but it works. And so between him and the hamster that's in the Iron Man type suit and a few other characters I've got going on, I think I've got an option here that'll work. But the hamster I think is going to be fun too, because I've decided that it's going to have a hamster ball inside the chest of the robot.
What?
So he's wearing like a linked helmet kind of thing, like a wireless connection type thing that links him to the suit. But the suit, in order to move, the hamster has to run in this little ball.
Okay.
So think like Pacific Rim, right, where the guys get in their suits and they're walking inside their suits. Now think about a hamster with like a helmet on, running around in a hamster ball that's like a free flowing hamster ball inside floating in like a gravity field or something in the chest of this robot. You've basically got the hamster that can be the total ass kicker. Yeah. So that's where I'm going with that. So he'll have a sidekick at some point. Where this goes from there, I have no friggin' idea. It's just going to be complete chaos.
Sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've got all these ideas. I've got no cohesive story aside from the origin, so it's pretty much wide open. So my buddy Ben, he needs to start throwing some ideas at me because we got to figure out how we're going to make this thing work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then other projects are coming along though too. I've got other things I want to work on, but
Cool.
I think this is going to be one of the first things I do. It's going to be a little more cartoony than the original art, but that's just to get the right vibe for the story.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, Zaid wants to pop in. 1 second here. I've got 4 windows open on my computer. Oh, 4 monitors running here.
So both of us have the disability of digression and going into different topics every time we talk.
Yeah,
because we wanted to talk about what we were going to do with the channel.
yeah, we're ADHD crazy.
So we want to do the ready to play thing. I think we want to interview, like we want to bring in. I liked interviewing or just talking to Eric, and I think we could do that with other people. Bring in as many people and not just comics. Make if somebody's writing a book, we'll bring them in. Somebody's creating a game, that kind of thing. Let's bring them in. We could talk to them, get their process, understand, what would help them, so that we can see if we can't, make that easier for everybody, or if we can't find someone to help them.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think, obviously interviews and that kind of thing. We could talk about just like the state of comics if we wanted to. We just like bring up Comixology or whatever, bring up, what is going on, what new comics are coming out and that sort of thing. Because we are, pretty privy to the new, independent comics that are coming out for the most part, especially within our community. So, and there's a lot of different things we could do about that. Anything else you want to put in there?
Let's see. Man, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to be able to do. My time is so short, though. It's hard to really say. Like, I would love to take a drawing show kind of thing and pull it up, kind of like what I'm doing with D&QFE. I've got the Chopped show that I was calling Cropped, which would be kind of fun to launch over here, but I don't know if I can do that. But I do want to expand out to other stuff. I mean, the whole art and writing, I think like a writing workshop kind of show would be fun, even though I can't write for help. I'm terrible about it.
We could do that. I mean, it would be nice to put an emphasis on writers for a change. I know that like other people have attempted that and it hasn't gone on so well because what are you going to do? Like, I think Clint had one where it was all writers doing art, and that was very short lived. Because everybody's like, these are all horrible, we're going away.
Yeah.
But I think what you could do is like a workshop, or in the you bring in like Cal and you just talk about like a more in-depth, basically what it would be is a more in-depth interview. You bring somebody in and you say, well, how did you do this? Like, what was the process that you went through trying to create a character that was like this and did that,
Yeah.
Like, and that's the best thing that you can do, and have like a panel so that you can discuss, these different characters. Or an even better thing, one way is to actually to everybody reviews a comic, like say like Tom King, get like 3 books, me, Cal, and say, a couple other people like you and one other person, all read those books, right? And then we come in and we talk about it.
Yeah.
And we say why it didn't work.
Yeah. Like a book
Something
review.
like that, I think would work.
Yeah, that's possible.
So,
there's a lot of ways we can work a lot of this stuff out.
We can finally do reviews for CG,
So that's an interesting topic too. A lot of people don't want to do reviews or have avoided doing reviews for some reason.
Well, because they're scared. They're scared that like if they come out and they're negative against, they feel like they seem negative, that people will hate them. And we just need to come out and say, look, we're not saying anything negative. We're making observations, and we're giving critique. And the difference between critique and being negative is that critique is followed by reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how you can fix this, how you can make it better in the future. Yep. And that's it.
Makes sense to me. And we have Mr. Phil Diaz in the house, Mr. Magic Cop.
Hey, what's up? You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, just at work right now, watching your stream. Thought I'd jump in.
Nice. Always welcome.
Thanks, man.
Anytime you want to come by. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. How you guys doing? I'm digging the snail, and
Thank you.
liking what I'm hearing. What's going to happen in the future of this channel? I dig it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas, and we've got a good. So the thing is, we've got a ton of connections. We've made friends with a lot of creators over the past year, and a lot of people keep saying the same thing, keep having the same ideas, and it's like we can all sit around and talk about what we want to do, or we can start putting some of the stuff into motion.
Yeah, that's how it is. Like last year, for me, it was a lot of that where I was working with an artist friend, and he was flaking on me, and I had written some scripts that I really wanted to get out there, and in my mind, I'm like, man, I have all this work that I've done, and I'm waiting on this artist, and he's just not getting around to it, and I'm paying him, and it's, screwing me. And then so the beginning of this year, I'm like, screw that. I'm going to get someone that's motivated and wants to have their art out there and wants to get published, and I'm going to pay them and put the wheels in motion. I'm going to take this under my belt and get it done. And so that's what this year for me has been.
Mhm.
So yeah, when you have ideas, you just got to get to it.
Yeah. It's having the time to be able to do that, and
Definitely.
finding priorities and stuff to be able to make it happen. I have like I'm actually probably supposed to be working by now. It's already 12, but my boss is out of town today, so I'm not too worried about it. What I've found is that I've got time to do things. My problem is that I give myself excuses like I don't want to go work out. I'd rather sit here and spend an extra 30 minutes debugging code or something. Like I can give myself the time to go do something. I just have to balance things out. And if you set goals and deadlines, that's the biggest thing. Setting goals and deadlines, then you start going, okay, well, I've got to get this stuff done by this date. And if you've got somebody that you're working with, even better, because now you have built-in accountability. Like, okay, I have to have this stuff to dock by the end of the week, otherwise he's going to give me hell.
Right.
I think that thing is big. So, like with this book, I haven't set any deadlines or goals yet. I decided that I was going to start streaming a couple times a week, I think, and just share the process of creating character images and kind of figuring out what the character is going to look like over time. I still don't have the exact look for him figured out because I decided I wanted to go a little more cartoony with the feel, because the other picture is nice. I like the way it looks, but it's, let me see, where is it here? There you go. I like it. I just don't think it's got the it doesn't have the look I'm really looking for quite yet. It needs a little bit more. I think it's fine, but it's a little too real for me, I think, and it would take way too long to render. I want to do something a little bit cooler, just more anime-like, more animated, so I can give him more exaggeration. It's like if you go too far to realism, you can't exaggerate the realism, otherwise it looks weird. But if you do more cartoony, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with the characters. So that's kind of where I'm going with that.
And you could even use like this style for like maybe an alternate cover, have more of a realistic cover.
Yeah.
Kind of like a movie poster,
Yeah, definitely. I would love to get like a Simon Bisley style
Oh my God.
painted cover with the snail on it.
Yeah,
Actually,
dude.
Jeff Lafferty, I might have to hit him up for it because he does that kind of work. I don't know if you saw his book Berserkernaut.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, but Berserkernaut, it's got that painted, just multimedia, grungy, really dark kind of look to it. I would love to see this kind of piece done in that. I think that'd be awesome.
Man, I love Bisley. I met him like 4 years ago at a Wizard World in Chicago, and
Yeah.
he is the coolest guy. He was doing Jack Daniels shots with fans and taking
That's
pictures
great.
with everybody. He was like, if a hot cosplay chick would walk by, he'd call her out and be like, "Oh, you look awesome," stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
He's he is Lobo, and I'm the biggest Lobo fan ever. I have like all of the Lobo statue collectibles and my favorite character. So Bisley, it was great meeting him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bisley, man, his work is just intense.
Yeah.
I would love to meet him in person. I've met a couple painters, like Julie Bell and Boris Vallejo. I met them at Comic Con a few years back. God, it's about 10 years ago now. But I really like their work in the Marvel Comics trading cards way back in the day.
Sure.
Their stuff is amazing too. But something about Bisley, it's just it's the grunge, right? It's like that whole dirty, just dark. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's nuts.
And he since nowadays he just does like the full grunge painting stuff. But I really liked his '90s line work that he did for Lobo, like his first few Lobo miniseries that he did. I just love the line work, and along with the painted covers, because his covers were like killer. They're legendary covers, whether they're for 2000 AD or like when he did Terminator covers, or even Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run. He did a lot of covers for that series, and they're just so awesome, so talented. But yeah, he's leaned to like, I guess he loves painting, and that's even the interiors now. I know he did that first with Judge Dredd and Batman trade that he put out, but he's just going full painting now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. God. Yeah, I dig the snail, and even you were saying you wanted to make him a little bit more cartoony, and you're saying like giving him teeth and stuff. I think that'd be funny, kind of like how like Earthworm Jim has teeth for no reason.
Yeah,
giving like those animals teeth.
That's kind of my. There we go. He's got teeth now. Yeah, give him a cigar.
Yeah.
A cigar? What do we got? A cigar? Wait. We're talking about Lobo. We got to give him a cigar now, you know?
Yeah.
We'll avoid the cigar. I want to like have kids like him, not idolize him and smoke. I don't. That's the other thing too. I wanted to try to kind of go for a kids market. Maybe not. Maybe not like little kids, but it'd be fun to be able to have kind of that. Well, I don't know, man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was totally adult, and they still wound up having a kids show. So
I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a joke that landed on somebody's desk, and they were like, "Hey, that looks good. Let's do it." So,
I mean, I loved Lobo when I was a kid. It's everything that I wish I could have been. Just like not. I don't care about anything. Like I'm just want to punch everyone's face in. I have like even my office here. I have the commission that Bisley painted for me. Well, he did it in ink, but it's like a headshot Lobo.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I don't have any commissioned work. I've actually never commissioned somebody to do something for me. I've always been broke, and then I had money, or I'm okay now, but for some reason I just can't bring myself to commission work. I don't know. I guess I'm too cheap, but I'll buy pages from time to time. I haven't had anybody actually commission a piece or be able to commission a piece from somebody. But I think part of it too is just the fact that I'm a little capricious, like about what I like or what I want at any given time. So it's like I'll have somebody do a piece for me and be like, "Oh man, I should have had you do this for me instead," or something. Like, I would actually like to have Jim Lee do a Gen 13 piece for me. I think that would be kind of interesting. I know it's, J. Scott Campbell is the epitome of the characters and stuff, but initially a lot of the designs and stuff came from Jim, and some of his original Gen 13 pieces were really cool. There was this one picture of Fairchild all decked out in like an assault gear or something.
Yeah.
That he did a long time ago. It was epic. And so it'd be kind of cool to have that. Dan Fraga, I would love to have him do like a Bloodstrike piece for me at some point.
You ever watch Jim Lee's Twitch streams?
I have in the past. It's been a while since I've watched him though.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how quickly he works. Like he'll throw a blob up on the screen, then suddenly it's Batman.
He's got a hell of a setup for doing that.
Yeah.
And he's got like a Discord too, and he does his like he raffles out off the pieces, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I saw a few months ago he actually did a Lobo on stream.
Like paying for his kids to go to college.
The 90s paid for his kids to go to college.
Yeah, he's another guy that has a bunch of kids.
Yeah. Have you ever met him in person?
Never.
He is tiny.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. Actually, Dan Frege introduced me to him at I went and saw Kim Jong. I can't figure out how to say his name. Kim Jong Gi or Kim Jong Gi or something like that. The Korean artist that does everything in ink, like just lays everything down in one shot. It's crazy. He's a major influence for Dan too. But we went to a workshop in LA one day, and all of a sudden, Dan and I are up about 3 levels, 4 levels back, and like the entire DC bullpen basically rolls in and sits up front, and Jim came in with everybody, but he's like super super short, and so when he came and introduced me, I was like shaking his hand and stuff, and I'm like, wow. I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, wow, you are tiny. I'm like 6'2", so it's just funny. Like when I met him, I'm like, because you get this impression that all these guys are bigger than life, and then when you go and meet them in person, you're like, okay, you're short, but yeah, super nice dude, major talent, and he's really humble. From every time that I've talked to a lot of these guys, Jim has been really humble. Art T. Bear, super nice dude. Dan is totally down to earth, like wants to talk to all of his fans and show them everything. He'll give everybody a little bit of time. I've had a really good experience with pros. I haven't had any bad experiences so far, thankfully. But I've heard some of these guys are kind of D-backs.
Trying to think if I had any bad experiences. I met James Obar, the writer of The Crow.
Yeah.
He always comes to the Chicago cons. And it was actually the same year Bisley was there. And it was like, it was probably because it was the last day and everyone was packing up. And I was there the whole weekend. So I ran home and got my Crow. And then I just forgot. And then at the last minute, I went over there for him to sign it. And he didn't really say anything to me. He just signed it. And it was probably because it was the last day. But then he was like right across from Simon. And he was still there drinking with people while everyone was packing up. And he was, doing some sketches and stuff. So I went back over to Simon and hung out with him. That was pretty cool.
Go.
But other than that, everyone seems pretty chill.
Yeah. I'm trying to organize some kind of get-together during Comic-Con this year, since a lot of the guys are going to be here in San Diego for it.
Nice.
Yeah. I was talking to Doug Tnaple about a month ago, actually. It's been a little bit. But he's going to be in town. He comes, I guess he comes to San Diego every year. He doesn't exhibit anymore, but he comes in just to keep up and do meetings and chat with people and hang out and stuff. So I'm going to try to catch him while he's here. Maybe grab lunch with a few other people. But,
yeah, I just met Billy Tucci 2 weeks ago at this Comic-Con Revolution.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. Like, I was just hanging out with him, talking with him about, like, I showed him Magic Hop stuff, and I was talking to him about Comicsgate, and he was talking some politics stuff and how, everybody's too crazy in the industry and how there's, like, a big percentage of creators that are still in the mainstream that like support the indie stuff going on, but can't talk about it.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Palmiotti was there too. They were hanging out, and he actually Billy asked me to help him carry his stuff over to his hotel. So I did that, and we were just chilling. It was really cool. He got me a DoubleTree cookie from his hotel. He wanted He's like, "You want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He gave me one.
Nice.
And he's super cool. He said that he would love to do a cover for me in the future. So he gave me his card and stuff, which was awesome.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he strikes me as a really, really super down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
Every time I've had an interaction with him, he's been really cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to catch him here at Con, too.
Yeah, definitely do that. He's one of the best I've met so far. Really chill.
I just realized my computer went to sleep next to me, and that's where I've got the chat pulled up. I'm ignoring everybody.
He's ignoring you on purpose, guys. Don't let him lie.
I think it's only Rabid Comics and Simon with us now, anyway.
Oh,
Simon.
wow.
Dude, Simon.
We're all too boring. Everybody's gone.
Right? We get more dislikes.
Yeah, I'm loving Simon's fan art for everybody. It's awesome promotion, helping everyone out.
Yeah, for sure.
Fan art
And-
is one of the greatest ways to do anything. That's, especially in our community is so visually oriented, so like the fan art is one of the greatest ways to reach out to them. I mean, obviously like I still like Shinobi Sasquatch, Rob Willis's art just carries that. That's just so powerful. It's just too bad that he did not, we couldn't get him more exposure because he's just a fantastic artist. That book really deserves to make 100, 200,000 in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the good thing is they've got time. They're still working on the book. It's still in demand, so we can still do a lot of promotion for it and push it harder. And from what I've seen, is a lot of books actually make more money in demand than they do, or close to doing about the same or doubling, whatever.
Yeah.
while they're in
Well,
it.
that's because they're leaving them in demand like 3 to 8 months.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, still though, you look at some of these books, man. They've like Brand, for instance. I think Brand has doubled or almost tripled what they had. I think.
No, they had 40,000.
Did they have 40?
Yeah, they had like 40,000.
Okay.
So.
They have 6. They broke 60 recently.
68 or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've made like 50% more than what they would have previously. So there's still room to grow, but some of these campaigns, like Mike, let me think. Heart of the Hero, his first one. That one, I think he ended at 70.
Mm-hmm.
And then went in demand and was like, what did he close out at? Like 120? Indicron. We have the technology. Let's see if our banners are up yet.
What's the next one going to be? Like Mind of the Man,
He said it's all has some sort of theme going on with it.
Yeah. Heart of the Hero. 113. So he made 113, but he had ended at like 70 something. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, he ended at 71.
Yeah.
And then wound up at 113. Granted, he went for quite a while because that was August. He closed his campaign in like January. Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Rabid Comics wants to do a stream and draw with some of the other CGs. Rabid, all you got to do, brother, is get on DNQFE, and we'll get you on the show. If you win, you can wind up going on and drawing with Mike, with Matt,
Mm-hmm.
all those guys. But you just got to beat the crew we've got on board.
He was to draw with the OG CGs. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Dude, well,
Yeah.
heck, with Willis, man, we could even get Willis on with DNQFE. I'm sure he would come on if we asked
Yeah,
him.
he's pretty low key.
Yeah. And what's funny is Weldon actually started on DNQFE.
Really?
Yeah.
You should totally market that.
Oh, we do. We talk about it. We give him a hard time too. We're like, you were on DNQFE and then you just abandoned us. You never came back.
Yeah.
Like, you don't love us anymore. Well, he was. I mean, Mike said he was always his friend or something.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. We give him a hard time, but he didn't really need to be on DNQFE. He could go hang out with the pros anytime he wanted to. But we still give him a little bit of a hard time here and there.
Totally should. He doesn't love you anymore. What's up with that?
Broke up.
We should reach out to him and be like, "What? No love? None? Psh, fine."
These guns are all kinds of broken. I don't even care because it's just a sketch. Yeah. My kid is pinging me now. Dad, you're gonna come pick me up. It's like 85 degrees outside.
Tell her, nope. You're gonna walk.
I just got a whole row of question marks, like because I didn't reply fast enough.
Tell him, nope. You're gonna walk. It's walking for you.
Hoof
You
it,
have feet,
child.
right?
Hoof it.
I'd be such a horrible father because my dad, you know, one of his punishments was I had to dig a 6 foot deep, 3 foot wide trench around the pool and then fill it in.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah, because I made a C on a progress report. I was like, Jesus, what am I, Korean?
I don't know, Doc. Are you?
No, I'm Japanese.
That's even
Yeah.
funnier.
Because, you know, they always say, like, the Korean parents, you know, they're like, they always expect 100%. So I was like, what am I, Korean?
Oh man.
All right, so we got a lot of plans for this channel. We're gonna kick it off. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Do you get to go pick up your kid, or what's going on?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bail out of here. I need to go and handle that, and then I probably should try to get some work done since I'm supposed to be managing while my boss is out of town.
Dun dun dun.
Right. So why don't you guys go ahead and give people some links to find you real quick? Doc, you want to start first?
Find me. I'm just on Twitter at Dr. Wright is in.
Well, there you go. That was easy enough.
I know, right?
All right, Phil, how about you?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at GGAFILLPOPS, Phil Pops, or at Zaid Comics, which is my comic book Twitter, and then also my YouTube, which is Zaid Comics, where we put up progress videos on Magic Cop, which is our comic, or talk about news, comic news, review some movies and collectible statues, stuff like that. Talked a lot about Swamp Thing this past week and all the news coming with that, and the cancellation of Vertigo. So check all that out. And we also have a mailing list. You could read a free 12-page Magic Cop story if you go to ZaidComics.com.
Very cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, we'll try to organize this stuff more often and get more people in. It's just kind of still off the cuff. Actually, up until about 5 minutes before I went live, I was actually still going through the process of having the channel authorized. It takes 24 hours. And originally I was planning on going live at 9, and I'm looking at the clock going, I'm pretty sure I did this just a little bit ago. It should be 24 hours now, and I'm watching the clock, and finally I'm like, forget it. I'm going to go live on my own channel. And then I did a refresh on the page, and it let me stream. So I'm like, cool. All right, here we go. Let's see. Oh, Rabbit says, when is the next Drawn and Quartered Fan Edition? DNQFE is every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Ping me on Twitter. We can get you into the Discord, and we can figure out whether or not I think we have a space still. We've got a couple of spaces open. Not for tonight. Wait, what's tonight? Today's Wednesday, Tuesday. Jeez, my days are all fried now that my kid's out of school. Today's the last day. I feel like it's Friday already.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll get it figured out. But anyway, thanks guys. We will have to do this again soon. But I am out of here. Catch you later.
See you, man. Bye bye.